Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this Vino Plunk production. And I think that it is time for a cuppa. Oh yeah. And that's a damn fine cup of coffee, if I do say so myself. Probably a bit too sweet because I think I put an extra teaspoon of sugar in there by accident. But how are you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing very, very well. Let's get on with it. It's currently coming up for 5:05 or 17:03-ish, I'd say, on Sunday the 5th of May 2024. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you are doing really, really well. Me, I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing really well, and I wanted to do this little TFAC to update you guys on some things recently, talk about some upcoming videos and all that good stuff. So the very first thing we're going to get into, and I have spoken about this very briefly in the previous video, is I am now once again the proud owner of a Steam Deck. So to give you an understanding of what happened, so when I lost my previous job and when I got my current job, because I hadn't paid tax or hadn't earned enough to pay tax for a number of months, when I got the job that I currently have, I got a tax rebate. I used that tax rebate to buy a Steam Deck at that moment in time. About 7-8 months later, give or take, I was buying a bus ticket to get to and from work, basically, and I then went, oh bugger, I haven't bought my bus ticket this month, thinking I had an extra £66 because that's what the bus ticket cost me for this month, and then went, bugger, how am I going to find this extra £66? And at the time I was paying a family member back. I've recently gotten a pay rise, we'll talk about that more in a moment. So I essentially impulsively sold the Steam Deck. My previous Steam Deck was sort of sat to one side. I wasn't really playing it much at the time, so I thought I'll sell that, I'll get my bus ticket, and I'll use the extra money to, I think I went out for a meal with my dad and sister, bought my mum lunch, you know, bought something for myself, and that was really the end of it. As time has gone on, I have missed that Steam Deck more and more. Recently, over the last little while, I've gotten a couple of pay rises through work, so I thought, you know what, this is going to be the month I get a Steam Deck. Obviously you guys know I bought this off of a ex-colleague that I used to work with at my previous place of work, and I'm really happy to have a Steam Deck back again. This is the 512 gig version, fully spammed up, that has the anti-glare screen. I've got a 256 gig SD card inside here. I've actually installed War Thunder on here earlier on the SD card specifically to see how that would run, and it runs perfectly. I already had this, like, I've always had this, what's the word, this wrong opinion of installing things to SD cards and the fact they're going to be a lot slower than if you install them to the internal NVMe in this particular unit. But no, it runs really well, and actually be having a lot of fun with War Thunder and other bits and bobs with the Steam Deck. Really happy to have it back in hand, and there's going to be a video on this very soon, and I've been enjoying doing some kickback gaming, if you prefer, because all my other gaming systems, apart from this and a DS, 3DS that I co-own with my housemate, I haven't got many handheld systems. All the systems I have, you have to be in front of, you know, something. My PlayStation 5, my Xbox One X, not One X, Series X, and my Switch, although Switch could play in bed if I wanted to, obviously, because it's handheld, are all in a room where there's no sofa. There's a computer chair that I sit on that I can lounge around in because it has like a extendable footrest, but there hasn't been opportunity to sort of just lay back and play some games, and this gives me the opportunity to do that. So very happy to have that back in the collection. So I also now have a Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. I used to have a Galaxy Watch 4, but my housemate decided to upgrade their Galaxy Watch 4 Classic to a Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, and that meant that their Galaxy Watch 4 Classic was open for purchase, so to speak. So I said I'd like that watch, and they said to me, take down the Galaxy Watch 4, whatever you get for it, give that to me and you can have the Galaxy Watch 4. So I went down yesterday. It took an hour and 15 minutes for them to test the Galaxy Watch 4 because they were very busy. I went off and grabbed myself a nice McDonald's 20 chicken nugget box, very nice indeed. But I then came back to CEX, and it was still about 10-15 minutes before they were ready to, while it was still testing, and this was on the shelf. I'm going to cover up the price for now. This was on the shelf. I picked it up and was like, oh, that's a very nice set. Now, I've wanted to watch the Beatles Get Back for quite some time. If you don't know what this is a docuseries that was directed by Peter Jackson. And the Beatles filmed the Get Back sessions, as they are now called, in 1969, leading up to a very fateful concert they performed. I think it was actually on a rooftop. In the end, they ended up performing it. But that's what this basically documents. And I've wanted to watch this for quite some time. It is on Disney Plus. I can watch it on Disney Plus. I probably will watch it on Disney Plus because it's in 4K, Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, the works. But when I saw this on the shelf and realised they've done this sort of collector's set, I was like, that is a very nice set. And from what I understand, it hasn't been released on home video on 4K. It's only available in 4K on Disney Plus, which is kind of interesting. And it does say on the Amazon website that it's exclusively available in this collector's set on home video. So that kind of implies that they haven't released it in 4K. This is the only way you can buy it physically. So I thought, fantastic. Because of this Steam Deck and a couple of other things, I'm, not exactly super flush with money, so I couldn't go out and get this straight away. So I took down a couple of things today and then ended up coming back with it. They actually had lost it to begin with and then managed to find it afterwards, but I'm very happy to have this in my collection. I have watched the first half an hour of the first disc and it's absolutely mesmerizing. It's fantastic. It's really some good detailed stuff about just them rehearsing, talking about things. You can definitely see the splits, obviously the fractures in their relationships, obviously, because this was a year before they eventually decided to go their separate ways. But it's a really interesting little docu-series. I probably will be watching, as I said, on Disney Plus, but I'm glad to have this in the collection. One of the reasons why I wanted this in the collection is, people who've been a part of my channel for years, and I mean going all the way back to 2007, maybe 2008. I actually bought the Beatles stereo box set and the Beatles mono box set later on, because here in the UK the Beatles were, and still are in some respects, a cultural phenomenon. They are part of British history in a lot of ways, and I wanted to buy those sets and sort of investigate and get into the Beatles and then understand why they were such a phenomenon. And this kind of goes with that collection. So and there will be a video on this very, very soon, and I'll probably show back off my Beatles stereo set and Beatles mono set. So the next thing, and one of the reasons why I also wanted to buy that, and we're now going to get on something that's a little bit more serious. I'm not going to go into the details of this particular docuseries just yet, but I've literally, over the last couple of days, got done watching the Quiet on Set docuseries that was on Discovery Plus. Oh boy, I have very strong opinions on that. I watched all 5 episodes. There's 4 episodes of the actual docuseries itself, and there's a 5th episode that's sort of an amendum, like a epilogue, if you will, of the whole thing. There's going to be a video on that. I'm considering whether I'm going to do that video straight after this video, but after seeing that docuseries, because that's 45 minutes a piece for each episode, and there's 5 episodes, so I was actually able to sit through and watch all that, which kind of surprised me. This is 2.5 hours per part. So over 8 hours, you know, was that 8 hours? Like 8 hours worth of content there, so that's going to take a while to get through. But watching that docuseries over the last couple of days has sort of spurred me on that I do have the attention span and the focus to be able to sit down and watch something like that. On that note, there is a Shudder docuseries, not really docuseries, documentary that I've wanted to watch for donkey's years at this point, called In the Search of Darkness. There's now 3 parts of In the Search of Darkness. So In the Search of Darkness is a very extensive it is now a docuseries because there's 3 parts to it if you think about it. But each film is like 4.5 hours long, and it chronicles what it was like being on the sets of 80s horror films, from Friday the 13th to Nightmare on Elm Street to Halloween and all that kind of stuff. Though Halloween wasn't technically 80s, I do believe that does play a part in it, from Child's Play to Chucky, you know, all those different movies out at a time. And there's some obviously interviews from producers, directors, writers, all that kind of stuff, actors, fans. And there's now 3 parts to it. I think it was this year or last year, can't remember when it was, the 3rd part was finally released. So I'm going to sit through those at some point. Basically, probably take a very long time to get through those, but I'm spurred on. I'm spurred on to watch those. It's kind of a shame because I do believe In the Search of Darkness was actually available on YouTube for a period of time, but it's now a Shudder exclusive, which is a little bit of a shame because I do believe it was on Kickstarter, and one of the stretch goals was if it got to a certain point, the director, creator of that now docuseries was going to release it on YouTube for free, and did have it on YouTube for free for quite some time. But unfortunately, I do believe Shudder now own the rights to that series, and that it's kind of bittersweet because it's Shudder that's allowed them to do the 2nd part and now the 3rd part. So it's a little bit, it is bittersweet in some respects that it's been pulled from YouTube. It's probably available on there in some unofficial capacity, obviously, but it was on their unofficial capacity as far as I'm aware. And again, it is bittersweet because it's been removed from the public domain, in a sense. Not the public domain as in the legal definition of that, but you can't watch it for free now because you've got to subscribe to Shudder. But being that Shudder own the rights now, they've been able to fund the next 2 parts in that now docuseries. So it's a little bit bittersweet. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not one of these people that sort of gets too het up over the whole, oh, it used to be on YouTube, it's now not on YouTube, you know, and sort of throws shade at the creator of that series. At the end of the day, they obviously have a passion for 80s horror and they want to continue making these documentaries. And it costs a lot of money to do these documentaries, and you need to have the backing of a company like Shudder in order to be able to afford this. So I completely understand why they've gone ahead and done it. So I'm not going to throw any ire or shade towards the creator of those documentaries. I'm just airing that slight shame. But at the end of the day, Shudder is $4.99 a month. So it's what, the price of a cup of coffee? Talking of which, cheers. It's the price of a cup of coffee. I'm sure that if you wanted to subscribe to Shudder just to watch those 3 documentaries, you're going to get your $4.99's worth, or whatever your regional equivalent of that may be. Anyway, that's what I want to talk about in this video, guys. There are some videos definitely coming up on the channel, from Beatles Get Back, Steam Deck, and showing off the Game of Thrones 4K set, which I still need to do and have slightly forgotten about it. We're back on this camera, by the way, because I now have a new SD card reader that arrived in the post yesterday. Until next time, guys, please take care, and always enjoy the rest of your day.